Warning. This podcast contains explicit sexual language and should only be listened to at work if you're looking for an excuse to connect with your HR representative. Additionally, all mentions of the word women include cis and trans women. If you are genderqueer, gender fluid, figuring it out, anything in between, and feel like this conversation is also important for you, you are welcome here.
Will you open up with me? These pages, they can feed your innermost desires. Do you feel inspired? Are you getting what you need? Are you coming curiously? A secret safe with me. And here you can simply be yourself. Sweet romance. Come on in, come on in, come on.
Hi, y'all. This is Jace, she, they, and you've found Jace Reads Romance, a community dedicated to empowering women about sex and sexuality through the reading of romance novels. Yeah, we do. If you are new to this, I do not tell Sephie what's about to happen.
No.
So, I know.
No.
Isn't it great?
Oh,
no. It's good.
That face. I don't know.
Today's chat is going to be short and sweet for Michael, but the topic that's been on my mind is, why are women's fantasies treated as second-class citizens?
I am here for this. Let's go.
So in my looking at the discourse around romance and around women and the patriarchy and all of those things, the conversation about, well, what is we talk about toxic masculinity, like with it, and I think if you're listening to this podcast, you probably do have like a base level understanding or agreement that toxic masculinity is a thing and a thing that should be stopped. And sometimes the argument by toxic men is made of like, why do you talk about toxic women? Like double standard. And let's just put that out there that individual women are toxic, but feminism in and of itself, not actually toxic.
Right.
And women that I would describe as having toxic ideologies are usually regurgitating misogynist rhetoric. So it's not that there are toxic women in the same way, like toxic femininity. It's really just regurgitated misogyny.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And we don't really need to talk about like what are the fantasies of men, because number one, this community isn't about men, and number two, it's everywhere. Every male fantasy is so prevalent in the media. It's so prevalent in every single form of media. It's prevalent in porn. It's prevalent in the media, even written by women for women of years ago, before we really, as a gender, many of us tackled and fought against the ideologies of the patriarchy and started to write things that really spoke to what women truly want. And so I don't need to talk about men's fantasies, but for so long, the rhetoric around women and desire, any kind of desire, just like sexual desire, desire for more in life, desire for decisions, there was no ability to dream. There was no ability to think about it because you had no access to things.
Right. You had no autonomy. You had no autonomy. Yeah. You had no rights. Literally no rights.
You had no right. You literally had no rights. It is less than 100 years ago, far less than 100 years ago, when you could not be a woman and have a bank account, when you could not be a woman and own property without serious pushback, that your your worth was tied to men. And so as big as you could dream, it was only how you had to be tied to a man. Your dream was in a box. That is a great way to say it. It's like you could dream, but it was within the 6 walls of the box.
Yeah.
You could, there's no way. It's like the metaphor of the cave. Like you have no idea. You have no idea what's out there if you've lived your whole life in the cave.
Yeah, exactly.
So women of a certain generation didn't pursue many things. Not all women. There were absolutely women who fought, who pursued, who strove, who paved the path that we have since gone on. But most women in the West, even until the 70s and 80s, didn't have access to things that are necessary for independence. And you cannot have dreams if you are truly dependent on someone else. Your dreams are only given to you with permission by this other person.
Which is mind-boggling still, just to think of.
It's still mind-boggling. And I have conversations with my grandparents, personal information, are very long past. They were born, 2 of them were born in 1914, one before that and one after that. So 1914 is the average birth year of my grandparents. Yeah, we're old. Like my family's old. I have a grandmother who didn't have her child until she was 39 years old in 1953. And I like to brag about that.
I feel like that's very brag worthy because that's the abnormal part of it. Like that's not the norm.
So braggable. Like I love that little tidbit. It makes me so happy. Also, I come from this woman who didn't get married until later in life, who really, within the constraints of society, lived life on her terms as much as she was able to. And I need to preface that with as much as she was able to.
Yeah.
But I have conversations with friends whose grandparents are younger or older friends whose parents are the same age, talking about how they truly believe, or as the world changed, their grandparents most likely would have made different choices in life. If they had had access, they would have made different choices than the ones that led down the path. And it's past, like they might have gotten divorced from a spouse. They might have pursued a career. They might have done X, Y, and Z. We don't know because those options weren't there. And we're living in this really beautiful age right now here in the West. I'm talking about generally because right now it feels like all hope is lost sometimes. I need to move this so that he's still a part of our life and our recording.
Oh yes. Our lovely little dumpster fire.
A little dumpster fire. But we are in this new age of possibility and options for women. We're not the norm. It's not equal. It's not fair yet. But the options are at least being presented as open. So and I'm talking big picture, not just sex and sexuality, but big picture, we have the ability to pursue things that we want. We have the ability to escape circumstances that are harming us. You can sign a lease. You can get a job. You can have a bank account. You can get a plane ticket. You can apply for college. You can do things independently that were not accessible to generations past. And once you have access to things, and once you're not just struggling to survive, you get to have more and more specific opinions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to kind of reference this in a different way. If you are someone experiencing hunger, the quality of your food doesn't really matter.
No, it's food.
It's food.
Mm-hmm.
But as you have access consistently to food,
Mm-hmm.
your tastes will change and you will develop
Yes.
preferences. Because the question changes from, will I be able to feed myself? And the answer is never no. You all, like,
Right.
once you escape, if you are able to escape that, the escape happens, you are always able to feed yourself. And you have
Mm-hmm.
a choice and you have income or structure, whatever it is that gives you access. Then you
Mm-hmm.
get to choose, well, what of the things that I now have access to do I
Mm-hmm.
actually want?
Yeah. What do I get to feed myself?
What do I get to feed myself?
Mm-hmm. Instead
And
of
so
will
on
I?
and so
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I
And
like that analogy. It's really good. It's a good
thank you.
analogy.
Hunger is a problem. Hunger is absolutely a problem and people shouldn't be hungry, but it's a good analogy,
100%. Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So when we're talking about fantasies about what life can look like, women can now dream. You're
Mm-hmm.
out of the box. You
Yes.
aren't trapped because of your attachment to a man. And that doesn't mean you don't want to be attached to a man. Heterosexuality, the worst sexuality. It
Or
doesn't mean you don't
sexuality.
want that.
Right. Right.
You might desperately want to attach yourself legally to a man, a specific man or men in general, and you get a joint bank account and you put your name on a lease or on a mortgage
Mm-hmm.
or on whatever. You grow a human and your names are on the birth certificate. Like, there
Right.
are ways that but you get to choose that. And if you
Mm-hmm.
don't have that partner yet, you
Mm-hmm.
still have inherent value.
Yes.
And what we're seeing in romance novels now is the explosion of fantasy and choice. Because if my worth, my number one worth, and number one ability to live is no longer dependent on a man being attached to me, I don't have to have a man for money. I don't have to have a man to sign a lease. I don't have to have a man to have a credit card. Then something more powerful happens. You get to choose.
Mm-hmm.
You get to choose, what do I want? I think that's also
Mm-hmm.
something that, like, men don't, or especially the toxic masculinity, pill bullshit,
Yeah.
is to be chosen is a gift.
Yes.
And if you don't view the woman at your side as someone you choose and a gift to be appreciated, and they make the same argument like, I can have anyone I want. Okay, then go get one. Then clearly you
Mm-hmm.
don't think I'm special. If the argument is
Yeah.
like, I'll go another, well, then you don't think I'm special, and there's no you're not choosing me. You see
Right.
vagina, and that's enough for you. But
Yeah.
the power of
I'm a
choice,
I'm a thing. Just a thing.
it's great. Love it. So delicious.
Mm.
I really want to be an object to you.
Yeah.
I really
Mm.
want to be an object. So the varying stories that we're getting, this explosion of story that we get in fantasy, is really powerful.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think like these are stories that could not have been told 20 years ago.
No.
These are stories that would not even have been thought up 40 years ago.
No, not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit. And whether or not I like all the fantasy, I don't like every single book I read. Like,
no.
listen to the wrap-ups. I don't. But the fact that women and I'm saying women certainly, and also like sidebar, other marginalized peoples,
yes,
have the ability to dream and fantasize in a way that they did not have access to is incredibly powerful. Like, I look at all of these books and I see like incredibly uplifting stories. And yet, they are treated as less than.
Yeah.
Because they are for women, by women. And this is both by toxic masculinity and the women who regurgitate it too. As not as well written. Fuck you. Clearly you haven't read a good one. Like, I have read some bad books written by men.
I mean, there's the whole idea of like a woman written by a man, and it's like
her tits tiddly.
It's like, no,
her boobs boobily moved or something like that. Like,
yeah,
no.
it's nope. Tell me you have never been with a woman without telling me.
Show me you've never been with a woman without showing me, like, without telling me you've never been with a woman.
Yes, exactly.
What it is, it's like her boobs bounced boobily or down like, the stairs.
Yeah. Atomic Apple Pie on TikTok picks out some of the greatest like snippets of women written by men, and I'm like, no.
I'll put it in the show notes. I'll link I'll link their page in the show notes.
Yeah.
And honestly, there are I don't know if I would ever. Okay. Here's the actual sentence. I have never read a romance novel written by a woman who didn't get the anatomy of a penis correct. Excluding size. Like, let's all say, like, we're not talking about size. But like,
size.
The anatomy of a penis has always been correct.
Correct.
You know, they might say, like, is there foreskin or not? But, like, that's not... Yeah. You say it. Just say it proud. Say it with all the disgust in your heart.
That is not the case when it comes to women written by men.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, at all.
Absolutely.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you experience that for the first time and you read it and you're like, that doesn't go there.
It's like how if someone writes a book about the city you live in and you're like, ooh, those are not near each other. That is an incorrect depiction of where things are and where one would go.
Yeah. One of my favorite examples of that is my favorite show, Supernatural. Parts of it take place in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, where I grew up. And they make it out to be this tiny little podunk middle of nowhere town. I'm like, Sioux Falls is like the second biggest city in South Dakota. Like,
honey,
it's big. It's for South Dakota. Dakota.
Okay, is it?
But they made it like
40,000 people big, or is it like 200,000 people big? I don't know. I will put the current population of South Dakota in the show notes too.
But what I'm saying is they made it to be like a diner, one gas station town, and that is not the case at all.
Yeah. I remember there's a movie called Deer Hunter, and it takes place in
Yes.
like southwestern Pennsylvania, and that's where
Mhm.
a large part of my family is from. And my dad loved the movie until the final bit where they're supposed to be in the woods, and he was like, "Oh, those aren't our woods. Those that forest is not
Not there.
the correct forest."
Right.
Um, and so that's real. And I think to be very transparent, I am not a red pill bullshit spouting man.
Mm.
So I don't know if I'm going to get their feelings correct. But considering how little they care for my feelings, I'm not sure I care.
Mm.
What
Right.
I will say is men take romance novels too literally. They're fantasy.
100%.
And for some reason, certain truths about the type of men that are in all romances
Mm.
have become prevalent. And number one, it just shows that you don't read a lot. Like your own
Mhm.
ignorance. Like you read maybe one
Yeah.
book. You read
Mhm.
Haunting Adeline and you were like, this is all romance novels. I'm like, no, it isn't.
No, really, it's
No, it
not.
isn't. And, or you took a specific subgenre and said that must be everything. Like
Right.
all niche art, there are
Mhm.
rules to them. And you can't say, like, women want super alpha toxic men because I've heard of dark romance, which is not
Mm.
all dark romance,
No, it's not
and
really.
apply it to all women. I will say that my favorite dark romances are when they are super toxic asshole men, but not for her. But not for
But not
her.
for her.
He treats her like a queen.
Exactly.
Like that's my favorite kind of dark romance. Um,
Exactly.
and you can't, just like you can't put all women under an umbrella. Like you can't put all romance under an umbrella, because
No.
when your options are to fantasize about anything, you fantasize about everything.
Yeah.
And you get it. And the thing about
Mhm.
women is there are things that we're told are hot or are desirable, but once you break from the patriarchy's expectation of what makes someone a man, you no longer necessarily look for those things in a man as your partner, because
Yeah.
the patriarchy does men wrong too, and tells men they
100%.
have
Yeah.
to look a certain way physically, they have to earn a certain amount, they have
Mhm.
to X, Y, and Z. The more that, like, six packs are fine, but that's a body fat thing. That's not a health thing. That's not a
Yeah.
man thing.
Right.
Like, it's it's bullshit. And so
Yeah.
I can enjoy a six pack, sure.
Mhm.
I don't require it from a partner. That's not what makes someone a man to me. I don't
Mhm.
need a full beard for a man. You know what? Some men can't grow parts of their beard. Like,
Yes.
like maybe they don't have the connection point between mustache and chin. Like they're never gonna get it.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but like that inch or less of hair on their face doesn't define man to me. I
Right.
grew up around a lot of bald men. I don't mind a receding hairline.
Exactly.
And so the question of, well, now that it's not, I have to attach myself to a man, and I'm not
Mhm.
really attached to the bullshit I was spoon-fed on what makes someone a man.
Mm-hmm.
What do I actually want in a partner who is a man?
Whoa.
It's unbelievable. And I gotta say, like, whatever your sixes are, 6 feet, 6 figures, 6 inches, like, I will say that when I was 16. So let's put this, like, let's say 16,
Yeah.
and the internet was still pretty new, and Cosmo was how I was spoon-fed my sexual preferences, because
Yes.
what did I know? I just read Cosmo. I did say at some point that I only would date tall people over 6 feet. I did.
Yeah.
I still
I
love a
was the
tall
same.
person. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then I went to
But
college. No.
I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. And then I went to college, and no one I dated in college hit 6 feet.
I mean,
I don't even think
like,
anyone I've dated after college would hit 6 feet. Like maybe one person was 6 feet.
yeah, I don't
Didn't last
like
long.
it was the same for me. Like I wanted someone because I'm 5'7", so I wanted someone
Aw,
taller than me.
samesies.
Yay!
But also, we
But
wore
like
4-inch heels.
4
This
inch
was
heels,
like back in the club days when you wore
right?
4-inch heels to everything.
Everything. So of
Everything.
course
So
you
you're
want
five
like
seven. You need a 6-foot tall man, or they're gonna be shorter than you. Oh
exactly,
my god!
exactly. But yeah, 6 feet tall, taller than me, want to look up. You wanted to like, I don't know, it was the idea of like, I want to feel small so I can feel taken care of and blah, blah, blah. But since then, I have dated some short kings, and let me just tell you, like, you can't discredit them because, man, like, I'm just saying.
It just, it's so funny to me. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna lie, like, I'm trying to think of the last time I was intimate with someone over 6 feet tall. And friends, like, percentage wise, I'm the statistic. Like, there aren't a lot of men over 6 feet tall. So,
No, no.
don't worry about it. But like it wasn't that much more spectacular than dating someone not 6 feet tall.
I
They
know.
didn't bring anything extra to the table because of their height.
Nope.
And so these ideals that you think are in all of these romance novels are not there. And I'm
Yeah.
not, when I picture, that's the other thing. When I'm picturing things that I'm reading in my brain, I change it. I also don't know if you asked
Yeah.
me to like put 6 feet, I have no idea. Like,
No clue. Like off the top of my
I'm
head, I'm
standing
like,
up, 5'7". Like, is this 5 inches? I don't know what 5 inches is. Like, you hand me a penis and I don't even know if it's 6 inches. Like, so I guess the penis size bigger? Like, an erect, 6 feet is like an erect penis taller than me?
taller than.
Is that what we're
But
going with?
yeah,
Like,
yes, absolutely, 100%. Let's
so
go.
like but you know what I really like? Do you know what I really like?
What?
I like eye contact. Do you know what's
Yes.
easy to have? Eye contact when you're like more level, when it's not,
Uh-huh.
listen here, you.
Yes. Yes.
Anytime, like I remember reading Icebreaker and being like, you're too small. I don't want to picture you that small. Like, and so I don't often picture things as written. But back to women's fantasies. I think that because women are proving men's expectations for themselves wrong, they credit women's fantasies as valid. Well, you
Yeah.
don't mean it. You're being silly. You're ridiculous.
Yeah.
This isn't. And, this just goes back to like men don't listen to women. Like we really will talk. If you ask a question, we will answer it.
We
You
will
just have to
answer it.
listen to
Yes.
the answer.
Yeah.
But
Well, it
so
also
like,
goes back to the whole idea that women suffered from hysteria when they, yeah, like that was a thing, and they sent them to doctors to get themselves off, and that was a thing.
yeah, I do love, I've probably talked about this in the next room where the vibrator play. Have I talked
Oh
about this?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you have,
Where,
but I know it.
oh,
Yeah.
so it's a play. I'll put a link to it in the show notes. But there's this moment when the plot of this play, for the most part, is there's this young woman and her husband is a doctor who treats hysteria, and it's a low
Mhm.
version of how the vibrator was made.
Yeah.
And so it's her, and then she has a friend who's being treated for hysteria with a vibrator, and they are like, "Oh my God, what are these feelings that we're feeling with this?" And the doctor's wife gave birth and needs to hire a wet nurse. And specifically,
Okay.
I say it because it's in the play, like they hire a wet nurse of color.
Okay.
And they're explaining to this woman, like, how does it feel when the machine is on and all the physical things and this wet nurse goes, it sounds like what happens when you have relations with your husband. And they were both like, no, that does not happen. Which is so great. It's a great moment. And I just I think about that, like, but it's the
Yeah.
same thing, like,
Mhm.
oh, I watched a video that was a response to this, but it was some bullshit podcaster who was like, I don't think women actually have orgasms. I think they're lying. I'm like, it's an odd way to tell us that you've never
Never.
made a woman come, but
Exactly.
like, I think if women do, like, one of them was like, I think if women have orgasms, they're trying to be men. And the other was like, I don't even believe they have orgasms. I'm like, this is such an odd, like, the
Oh,
logical, like, the
that's a
journey you went on to, like, justify why you're bad in bed is astounding.
right? But again, it's like, well, women are lesser, so of course they can't orgasm. But it's
Yeah.
not my fault. It's not me being the bad side of it.
No.
It's them.
And, like, with so many things here, the basic problem is men don't listen to women. And so us trying to change their mind, it's not going to work. What
No.
I want us as women to do is keep number one, if you're a writer, keep writing
Yes.
your heroines, keep writing your heroes, keep writing your stories, keep fantasizing, grow the dream, because the dream is a partner who is worthy of us. The dream is a partner who sees the independence that was fought for, that we have earned, and says,
Yeah.
you chose me and I value that choice. I appreciate that choice. I want to earn that choice over and over and over again, and keep going. Because eventually, the more women who realize that they can ask for that from their partner, the more we're going to ask for it, one partner at a time. And one partner at a time, one man at a time, one bullshit red pill person who has never touched a willing woman in their life
Yes.
is gonna figure out that they are in the wrong. And I wish that I could say something and get it to all the people who truly need to hear it. Like the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
But instead I get to talk to you fuckers. You absolutely brilliant women, non-binary, even some men humans who are creating this. who see women wanting and go, I believe in you and you deserve it. And I'm going to write a story that celebrates all of that wanting.
Yes.
And who the fuck cares if some bullshit, narcissistic, red pill motherfucker never made a woman come likes it? They weren't who you were writing it for anyway.
Exactly.
And the more power that we create, the more power that we create for ourselves and this industry and this medium in these imprints. Because sadly, capitalism is a thing.
Yeah.
The more we champion this, the less we stand for bullshit.
Yes.
It turns our microphones up. Like, there's a publishing company that decided, oh, I need an imprint for a marginalized community. It's men. And everyone who's not a man went,
What?
what? Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly that. What?
I'm like, okay, cool. You got your feelings hurt because your book wasn't that good? So you got like your uncle to create a whole new imprint for it? Because it still happens like that? I don't know. I don't know what the actual story of it is, but I think it's bullshit.
Yeah. And I just wanted to say the fact that we as a woman, I am saying this, but again, all marginalized societies are included in this. As we are coming into this age where we have the ability to have this choice and to have these fantasies, it, like you said, it gives us power. And power is something that men don't like us having.
Nope.
It scares them.
If we can make our own choices, they can't make it for us. If we can make our own choices, we have the option not to choose them.
Yeah. Exactly. And that in and of itself is a very powerful thing.
I want to say there is still the lie that's being fed to so many women that you don't have value without a partner, without a man having chosen you. And I hate that. And I feel very lucky that I've never felt that way. But I dare you to read a book like Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan and say, I don't deserve a maverick. Like, you deserve a partner who deserves you, who champions you, who celebrates you, who lifts you up and supports your dreams, whatever they are. And saying, I won't stand, like, if you are, we're going to go back to our food analogy. If you are now at the place where you can choose any food you want, you're not going to choose food you don't like. Like, I think I've mentioned this. This is a silly thing. I hate bananas. They smell bad. They taste weird. They are my nemesis. I will never willingly buy them for myself. They will never be something that I choose to eat, ever. Are they inherently bad? No. But are they for me? No. And you want to know what? I get to choose that every day. Every day.
Yep. Yeah. It's mushrooms for me. I cannot.
Yeah. And you want it? You don't have to buy mushrooms.
Nope.
That's it. When you know that you have pizza and hamburgers and broccoli and Brussels sprouts with bacon and whatever else is out there that you like, that you're excited about, that like lights a fire in you, and you like put it in your mouth and you moan. And that also can be metaphorical.
Yes.
When you have access to that, You don't have to eat the banana, the mushroom, the whatever.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And that doesn't take away from your value. If a banana or a
No.
mushroom is like, no, you need to eat. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah.
It's funny to me that, and I'm going to exclude dark romance for a second, and not all dark
Mhm.
romance, but dark romance, the genre, because that genre has some very specific things. But in general,
Yeah.
what a woman in a romance novel wants is a man who understands her and listens to her and cares for her as she is.
Yes.
That's it. If there's
Sees
one
her
piece of
at her
advice,
place in life and accepts her for it and is willing to continue on that journey with her and grow with her.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And any other bullshit that you are fed as a man about what women want, sorry, dude, it's not true.
Yeah.
There
If
might
it's
be
coming
women,
from,
there might be a woman who's like, I want a 666, and that's their preferences. That's fine.
yeah,
They're gonna figure out
exactly.
eventually that, like, then you know what? I hope they find it. I hope they wait for their 666 or whatever it is, because if that's truly what's gonna make them happy, good for them. But
Yeah.
for most of us, if you actually read the books, if you're gonna talk about this,
Read? What?
number
Sorry.
one, read the books. Like, if you want,
What?
if you're like, I can give you some books, and if you're like, I'm too heterosexual to read a queer book, okay, that's fine. Or I'm too
There
white and I
are
don't like
plenty of
people of color.
heterosexual romance novels.
Plenty of that are there. So many
So
cis
many.
het
So
white
many.
novels. No offense, I love them too. I love them too.
Right.
But
That's a
like,
whole other conversation.
whole other conversation. It's a conversation that I feel like we've had before. It
Yeah.
just doesn't, like, just because there is a book where someone happens to be like, or a billionaire romance. Like, if you're really like, well, there's billionaire romance. I'm like, yeah, and you also have pizza delivery guy porn. Like, I don't
Exactly.
assume that's everyone's fantasy, or it's
Right.
not even all porn. Like,
Exactly. Like, it's just.
it's very funny to me. And funny, not funny, haha.
Yeah.
So, and like the reason they are second, so getting back to the actual thesis statement of like being second class citizens,
Yeah.
the reason women's fantasies are second class citizens is because to the patriarchy, women are second class citizens.
Yep.
And if you're a second class citizen, you don't get to have fantasies. You don't get to dream. You don't get to try. You only get to do what the patriarchy tells you and be
You
subservient.
only get to exist in your box.
The box.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, not as, I feel like we had some laughs. I feel like this was,
Yeah.
we did. We had some laughs.
Yeah.
A good time.
Yes.
And that's what I wanted to talk about, this idea of fight for the goddamn fantasy.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining me. Thank you, Sephie, for letting me rant a little bit.
You know I like it when you rant.
You know I like it when you rant.
Oh, goodness.
I'm going to crawl under my desk, which is lifted now. So
Lifted now, yes.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Jace Reads Romance is a 3 Paws Productions podcast. Produced by Sephie, edited by Michael Achenbach. Our theme song is written and performed by Diana Weishauer. For show notes and more, head to www.jacereadsromance.com. That's JAYCE Reads Romance. Follow us on socials at Jace Reads Romance everywhere. For more exclusive content, visit us on Substack, where you'll find extended episodes, bonus episodes, and more. Have a question, story, or a book recommendation you know I'll love? Email Jace at jacereadsromance.com or call and leave a voicemail at 661-JACE-RR. That's 661-529-2377. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast. And as always, this is Jace, holding space for you.